I realize that it's not Tom Petty, it's the Steve Miller Band that sings that song. But anyway, I got it wrong. But Tom is one of those people, and Tom Petty is one of those people that's actually my spiritual math too, because a lot of his songs have been sticking out to me a lot for years. Never knew why. So anyway, the cool thing is I have this ability now to communicate with them as I'm walking around and talking to other people on another dimensional level. So I'll say stuff like, but you know, if I keep saying this kind of stuff to people, I'm too outgoing, and I'll walk around and I'll be like, I feel like singing out loud right now and running and skipping with my arms out. And they're like, then do it. And I'm like, am I hearing you right now? And they're like, yeah, you are. You know that you can talk to us. So just because you know you can talk to us in the astral doesn't mean that you can't believe that you can talk to us in the physical. And now that you're starting to believe that you can talk to us in the astral, we're going to show up on the physical and say, hey, we can talk to you. And you're going to say, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah. And they're like, holy shit. I'm like, so I'm talking to you. And they're like, yeah. Didn't we just have a conversation? I'm like, well, you guys are smartasses. And they're like, yeah, we invented smartassery. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. And they're like, holy shit doesn't come from smartassery, because we have holy asses, I guess. If you want to give us an ass, you know, holy people, like when you're an astral being, you don't poop, you don't have waste in a physical sense. Because it's funny, like, so like for them to know that is because they've all played the characters that poop and kill and bleed, and they don't take anything super serious. They don't take blood seriously. They don't take cum seriously. They don't take anything serious, because it's just a word and a connotation we give the words. The word cum is connotation, but it's also the life source that produces life. So at the same time as people make fun of it, it's what made your babies grow. It's what made everything fucking happen. How ridiculous are we that we have such a weird society that praises it in one hand and literally praises it in one hand and the other hand is like, no, it's so wrong. It's so weird. And I was like, well then how do I know when I can talk and be myself around people? They're like, you can be yourself around anybody at any time, so you don't have to figure out when. I'm like, well, how do I know when to do it so that the people that could harm me or that will do me wrong or think badly of what I'm doing or that will get offended by what I'm doing, how will I be able to sense that? And they're like, you're learning right now. You can't do everything just from... And they're like, basically they tell you stuff and then they say, we already told you that. You just have to learn it. You're doing it right now. Like, you do that by listening to the room. Like, now you listen to yourself, now listen to the room, and listen to a group of people. Listen to an area. Listen to a location. From wherever you are, you can listen to another location, because you believe you can. I'm like, I don't fully believe I can, but I know what you mean. They're like, well, you know what we mean. Once you start believing you can, and the more you start doing it, the more you'll fully believe you can. Just like you started listening to yourself and talking to us, you can start listening to yourself and talking to other ones of us, through us, because we know that you get that vibrational sense, and we know that you believe. It's cause and effect. To the level of your belief is to the level of your ability. And I'm like, wow. And they told me all that just now while I was walking and talking, trying to tell Buck, because I said, hey, what's up? And he says, my blood pressure. And I'm like, well, if you want it down, you just got to believe it and go down and really believe it. And he's like, no, I tried that, and I ended up in the hospital. I'm like, well, you didn't really try it then, Buck. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, you don't believe that you can heal yourself. He's like, I tried that. I'm like, you did not try it. You mentally, in words, and in what other people would say, is you attempted to do what you read on a page and you tried it. But you don't believe that you can heal yourself just because you tried to heal yourself. Just because I tried to do something doesn't mean that I believe that I could do it. I know I can hit a home run, but I know that I don't hit a home run every time. So I can try to hit a home run every time, and every once in a while I will, because I believe I can. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a small little way to give an example, but if you think you can heal yourself and really believe it, then you can. If you want to heal yourself but don't really believe it, then you won't, and you'll just get frustrated and you'll actually start hurting yourself more, which is what he did. And what he's doing, he's hurting himself more every day, and he's slowly dying because his avatar is getting so weak and weary and angry and miserable that his higher self that's playing the game with him is going to be like, I don't want to even control this guy anymore. I'm going to let him finish himself off. It's weird. And you can actually eventually, they will leave you on pause, or they will leave you on hold, or they'll leave you to autoplay for long enough when you don't have any attention span and you're not focusing. If you don't have that kind of focus and attention to your higher self, they'll let you play yourself off till you die, because they'll just play another game. They'll go off and play another game, and they'll let this game end. You know, and sometimes you'll have a guide. Say you go to the bathroom while you're playing a game, and someone's like, well, I'll take your turn for you. And somebody will take your turn for you, and that'll be a moment in life where you didn't even feel like yourself. You weren't, because there was a different entity that actually came in because your higher self gave that entity that they trusted to not mess up, because this is a serious game and they know that. So your higher self, the more he knows you on a vibrational sense, the more he would not let a different entity control you. So if you get a different entity in you, it's going to be a magnificent feeling that is different than something you've ever had. And because you're tuned in, your higher self won't let that be a negative being. It'll be an awesome being. And it could be a being that is playing somebody else right now, because right now it's also playing the game. It's just sitting there. It's not sitting there, but metaphorically. It's just there playing it, waiting for you to take your turn, or for you to experience your part. And while it's taking a break from its turn, or its game, it's helping you on yours, because it's got so much level of control, it can control its game and another one at the same time. That's sort of how you control other people. You realize, you talk to your higher selves, you look for higher selves that aren't playing their character, and you go to their character and you call their character towards you. Then when that higher self comes back, you're like, oh, my character started going towards this direction, which is leading him towards this person. Well, I'll follow that, because my character seems to think that's important, and it's going to help them back to their higher self. I mean, that's how it works. It's spiritual mathematics. And I'm creating it right now for the whole world, for the whole galaxy. And the more I learn, the more I can do it deeper and farther and more in depth and help more. And the people that are hearing this are understanding what I mean, because it's the most amazing thing they've ever heard somebody say, because they totally understand spirituality. And the more they listen, the more they'll get it. And the more it freaks them out, the more chance it has that they won't listen. But oh well, I love you. Bye.